just looking at it, and the words pop right into my front.
Oh, we need to bring the mic closer. Just when you think you got everything ready, you know?
Happy, what is it, Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Violetta, Gypsy Danger, Deadweight Nate.
If I seem like weird, it's because I just dropped something on the floor in the bathroom and gouged my like just newly re-rubberized floor. So I'm like in a not great mood about that. So on that note, we'll also be making a trip to Humboldt tomorrow to get more rubber for me to fix the floor gouge I just made.
Yeah, unfortunately it happened like 5 minutes before stream.
Yeah.
So Krissy is a little perturbed on the inside.
I'm not happy at my actions this morning. I also spilt your entire cup of coffee all over the floor. It's not been a great morning for me, you guys. I'm just like Klutz McGee.
Those are both true things.
Yeah.
But everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, the stuff that we need though, they just don't really have it here.
They don't have it in the nearest town.
They
so
have a version of it, but
you need to use the same version on like
it's
because we're
for
using
adhesion.
it's called Flex Seal.
Yeah, Flex Seal.
And Flex Seal will stick to many things, but nothing else will stick to Flex Seal other than Flex Seal.
Yeah, that's kind of
the caveat.
Yeah, it's so repellent of water and liquids that other things don't really.
It's repellent of everything except itself. Yeah. So we just need to go to Humboldt.
Jason feels like shit
the
today.
Canadian Tire and get some more Flex Seal tomorrow, so I can fix that. That's great. And
Watch, they'll only have black.
Jason! Oh my God! Don't say that, Evan. We should maybe call them before we go. And then be like, if you have some, please put some aside.
Here, let me just check.
We can look. I think, we can shop online.
I just paid $1,200 to replace my kids' brakes and rotors. Yeah, that sounds about right. I had to pay a lot of money to get my truck fixed not long ago, and then before that the car had so unfortunately
vehicles suck.
Yeah, I've always told a lot of the older generation around where we are that I would gladly trade a good portion of my electronics internet knowledge for some of the knowledge they know about fixing vehicles. I could have done it myself, I suppose, or have my dad do it, but he's old and replacing these things is dangerous. Well, and so that's the kind of thing, right? Is even with getting new vehicles and stuff like that, the main thing is like warranty or, coverage in that sense as well. So it's hard to do things yourself now, because then if something happens, you know, you might not be able to claim insurance or whatever, right? Oh, Deadweight Nate had to pay $1,900 for brakes, rotors, and tires.
I remember
Where's the wooden wheels?
This was a few years ago now, maybe about 6 years ago. I can't remember. My mom and I used to car share, and so I was sharing her SUV with her, and it started to have issues with, like, the gas tank was leaking.
Yeah.
And so then I had to pay like $1,200 to repair the gas tank. It sucked. That sucked a lot.
Leaking gas tank.
Yeah. It was scary. It was a little scary.
Yeah, I don't know. My problem is usually what I've done is, as my vehicles start to fall apart, I just traded them in or something like that. But it's tough once you get to that point where it's like, do I want another vehicle payment?
Yeah.
Or do I sometimes randomly want to get hit with a big bill of something that needs to be fixed? So it's tough. And I mean, at least I'm not actually 100% sure all of the different weather that you experience in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But our vehicles, with a large portion of our year being winter,
cold,
have to be of a certain ability to function.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't drive like smart cars out here in the middle of winter.
Oh, I had to pay like $2,000 to replace my gas tank on my old truck because they took it out but didn't have a replacement and gave me the ugliest colored loaner vehicle for a week.
What do you consider the ugliest color? Because
I'm trying to think.
I really like the color puce, but a lot of people think that's...
What color's puce again?
It's like kind of green.
I don't even think I know how to spell puce.
Puce.
It sounds like something that comes out of the body.
Oh, actually, no, that's not what I think of when I think of puce.
Well, then I guess...
Look up puce green. Because I'm certain that puce is a green. It's like a purple. There.
No.
Oh, puce, not puce. Okay, well, I don't fucking know then.
What?
I'm so confused. Oh, chartreuse. Maybe that's it?
The color... What in the blue blazes?
Oh, okay.
The color puce is sometimes thought of as purple and sometimes green. However, the word is used correctly when it refers to something purple. The use of it to describe a shade of green is a misconception. Puce is a particular shade of purple, often dull or dusky with underlying brown tone.
Okay, well, you learn something new every day.
Hello, Philip.
I've lived 36 years of my life thinking that puce was my favorite color green.
I'm pretty sure I've actually heard you correct people as well.
I don't know. I don't think I've corrected
and
people.
Said, no, that's more of like a puce.
No.
Let's look at this shade of green. And do you know which one of these is most likely what you think of when puce pops in your mind?
I think of kind of like a more pukey forest green.
Pukies.
Yeah. Like... If forest green was like, click on the thing below it. So when I think of kind of dark olive green when I think of puce.
Good luck to Ollie. Yeah, Mr. Lev is taking the doggy to routine checkup. Hopefully it's a clean bill of health.
Yes.
Hopefully you don't have to replace Ollie's brakes and rotors for $1,200.
Yeah. So I've been wrong about this for many a year now.
Is this the color of olives?
Yeah.
This is like a brown green.
There's there's different colors. There's olive drab.
Gross. How come drab olive looks better than olive? This looks like not something you want to smear around the house. Violetta was had mentioned earlier, I had read it and looked it up a little bit, that she was curious if 2/3 of a country being underwater made international news.
Oh, is that Slovenia?
So it didn't initially like pop up right in my the general kind of news stuff I look at, but It looks like came from 20 hours ago on CNN. Slovenia hit by worst natural disaster ever. 6 people were killed and $500 million worth of property damage. Just gonna load the CNN.
In Slovenia, authorities there tell CNN at least 6 people were killed after a month's worth of rain fell in less than a day. Many homes, roads and fields now washed away. Estimates put the damage around $500 million. And these floods are being called the worst natural disaster to ever hit the country by the Prime Minister. And Slovenia's Prime Minister,
I mean,
Robert
I will
joins me
say
now.
500 million is
Prime Minister,
not that much when Twitter cost 44 billion.
Well, or it kind of highlights
The ridiculousness of what Elon Musk paid for Twitter.
yeah, like just how something tangible, like repairing people's houses, roads, streets, costs less than an intangible,
like actually helping people.
literally a little figurative bird that he got rid of.
Yeah, turn it into.
He paid
X.
$44 billion for like a storage unit that he changed the name of.
2/3 of the country simultaneously was hit by that. And at the end of the day,
Oh, this is the Prime
devastation
Minister.
that we witnessed was like tens of thousands of homes were flooded, hundreds of bridges
I
wiped
will
out,
say it is
hundreds of kilometers of
amazing
road.
that only 6 people
totally
have
disrupted.
passed away.
Yeah. That's
Oh, you
yeah, just while we were talking, just because
You
I'm
said 2/3 of the country, just staggering to think of that, has been affected by this record rainfall. Have rescuers, Prime Minister,
So
been able to
is this
reach the flooded
typically a river?
I'm
I assume so.
Yeah.
areas?
Just
That's
probably
only one
higher
area.
than
Water levels reach something like 2 meters.
Woo!
Right. Can you imagine living in a home and then the water comes up to the 2nd floor? It's just out of any imagination.
So what did you have to
As
do,
we speak,
Violetta?
most of the population and most of the homes has been reached, but not all.
Did you say
Our
no?
teams
That's
are still
not a
fighting
river?
on the field, trying to reach those most distant folks still living in their homes, waiting for the rescue. We established a helicopter bridge,
It was a
So
road.
rogue.
providing them with food, also with the aggregators for generators
Solar
for
panels, they're doing their part.
so that they are able to withstand the force of nature.
And I saw
The
that
people who
Slovenia
live up
had
on the
a
hill are just like looking down on everybody more than normal.
field for support from both NATO and I believe the EU in terms of assistance. Has that assistance started to arrive? And in what shape, what form is that assistance, Prime Minister?
Mhm. The second day after the disaster, we immediately triggered 2 mechanisms. First is the civil protection mechanism of the European Union, and we ask for the heavy equipment
That's
for
gotta be
civil
a river.
works. And then we also triggered
Or at least
the
a-
fast response of NATO alliance for helicopters to establish the bridges, the helicopter bridges.
Oh, one of
transport
the hills
bridges
came down
to
and
the,
with
cut
avalanches.
off
Yeah,
population.
What in the good God?
that was like
You've got to have a look
It reminds me a lot of what happened in BC last summer. The last summer?
Yeah, actually similar.
Yeah.
The only thing, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. I should look at a map first. I was gonna say like British Columbia getting flooding isn't crazy because it's on the ocean,
Yeah.
but so are you. Kind of like a
Well, Mediterranean Sea.
yeah. It's kind of what I've thought for a while now when it comes to these types of insane natural disasters. We live in a world that, say, money is becoming exceedingly tighter, and people are, you know, when you talk about conservatism in a sense of like not spending money on things you don't have to. Well, how can you be conservative when year over year there's the insurance companies are going to have to dole out trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars?
Insurance dollars.
Like
yeah.
eventually things are, it won't be able to keep up with the amount of things destroyed.
Mhm.
So it's scary to think that people who will potentially lose everything in an accident or in a act of God can also end up losing. Like, look at what happened in Puerto Rico for like months after, or they're part of the United States of America, and they were all probably, none of them had anywhere to live, and Donald Trump's throwing water bottles and paper towels at them.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't insure here for flooding. So then what? I guarantee, obviously I don't know a lot about Slovenia, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine it's like everywhere else in the world except for like fucking Luxembourg, where people might have a lot of disposable income in their bank.
I have no idea.
But I would imagine that if your house is flooded up to the second floor, you do not have enough money to remediate that water damage yourself.
Yeah.
I'm
also
crazy.
I'm curious what their building code is like. And like, cuz I mean, obviously I don't know a lot about construction over there, and like we've only done like in regards to construction, this is our experience, is our tiny house, building our tiny house. And so we know, like, if we need stuff, we just go down to the corner store, or not the corner store, we go to like the Home Depot store and get the things that we need. But like,
there's technically, because of how small our bunkie is, there's certain approvals and stuff that you don't need.
Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, or where we are, as I can speak to, there's quite strict building codes. And if something becomes water damaged or fire damaged, or for instance, what could be deemed as unlivable, if you were homeless, you would definitely not have a problem living in it.
Yeah.
But in the eyes of an insurance company and property values for the houses around it and all that stuff, it becomes condemned, right? But it has to be able to have certain R value for insulation and egresses for fire. And
Regina, our capital in our province, there's a huge homeless encampment downtown around it right now too, which is like
downtown Regina. In a population of 1 million people.
That's the province.
Yeah. The province is a population of 1 million. They got people camping out in the front of the city hall. Like, it just, everywhere is...
Okay, so...
Most people are under... So it sounds like Violetta lives in a similar place to we do, where people are basically being able to cover their costs while... never completely paying off their debts, but covering the minimum balances required to not go into insolvency or whatever. But I just wonder, once, like, say, for example, Jason having to pay $1,200 for his truck. Once in a while, maybe someone can take that hit and absorb it and then pay it off, right? But imagine that happening constantly from things outside of your control. Like that one person in that video had solar panels on their house and trying to do it, maybe alleviate some of the electrical usage while climate change caused by, the rest of the world as well causes their entire town to become flooded. So it's...
just responding. Our homeless population in Saskatchewan has slowly been getting worse throughout the years, which is also sad because we experience temperatures of minus 40 degrees Celsius. It gets really fucking cold. And in our largest center, they actually just shut down, like... Because of corruption. The shelter for homeless people.
Yeah, well, the person running it was
used
embezzling
funds
money
to buy a house for his daughter.
And instead of basically replacing him and getting the shit together, they were like, nah, we'll just close it.
Yeah.
And he's like, pardon me? Oh, you're looking for Bella. Hopefully you found her. She's a little wiener dog. It's
a weird world.
I just don't, the problem with homelessness is that we all know that there's ample space for people who don't have homes. It's called dead malls. Dead commercial buildings that no longer need to exist.
It's just people won't make money off of them, and that's the problem.
Exactly. Someone owns a commercial building that they didn't think far enough into the future to say there may be a time in technological advancement that this building isn't going to be full of people.
I find a lot of issue in the fact that my value as a person is directly tied to the amount of capital I can earn for someone else.
We actually, like, we try not to get...
I try not to think too deeply about it.
Yeah, we try not to get on a high horse of any sense, but it's kind of lost my train of thought there for a second, but we were listening to something that earlier this morning that, you know, it really kind of highlights to me what we deem as like a meaningful thing to do and not, right? Like, I always joke that when we say we're going to get water, people are like, oh yeah, no, you got to go to the well and fill up with water. Makes sense. But if someone who lives in a city says, oh yeah, I'm going to go get water, everyone's like,
from the tap?
Congratulations. So it's like gardening versus buying groceries, right? What would potentially make you feel like you're doing something more meaningful? And those little things that, you know, make us feel connected or attached to the world around us seemingly become taken away, and sometimes we want them taken away so that for convenience sake, right? But a lot of the stuff that we're trying to convenience out of our lives are the little things that add meaning to the reason you're doing those tasks, right? Like, you're not necessarily raking the lawn because you don't want your neighbors to bitch at you. You're raking the lawn because you want to rake the lawn, or, you know, make your area clean, or get rid of the debris, or
doing
whatever.
something for yourself versus like because people require it of you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we talk existentially a lot about what, you know, not that we know what's best for everybody or anything, but I do know
we try really hard to break free from the programming of our childhoods and to think outside the box. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I often think to myself, like, just, you know, like, think about somebody in your life that when you were growing up, your parents or somebody was like, oh, that person's kind of a loser because they don't have 3 cars and a big house.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, you're like, that person wasn't a loser. They also didn't have a bunch of debt, or they, you know, they went traveling instead of this, and that's not a loser thing to do.
You know what? They were definitely a lot happier than my mom and dad were.
Yeah. So it's interesting for us to talk about what we perceived as the way we were supposed to grow up versus like the other ways.
Do what feels right to you.
Yeah, like, it's just kind of an interesting. Speaking of interesting things and people that may have been stranded due to weather. Actually, this wasn't even weather related.
I know, this had nothing to do with weather.
So
a Canadian story that has nothing to do with weather.
Yeah. We actually talked about this place not too long ago. It's a gondola in a place called Banff in...
We went there.
Alberta. We took this gondola.
We rode on the gondola with a really sweet older couple from Brazil, and at the time the Olympics were going on in Brazil, and we were just like, why aren't you there watching the Olympics? And they're like, it's more enjoyable on TV. And I said, okay.
Oh, she was at the laundry basket, Bella. Sorry, I was just reading chat. Violetta was saying it's, you know, how everybody comes together to help each other in times like these. But then when it's over, they all fight again.
Exactly.
It's almost like when faced with a problem greater than the little problems we have, we can work together. But then when it comes to should kids be able to ride skateboards on the sidewalk, it's like, you know, 50-50, everybody's yelling at each other. We watched, I guess before we get into the gondola, while I brought it up, we watched Ethan Klein and XQC debate about copyright.
Okay, I just need to say this before you get into it. It makes me really sad knowing that there's probably a large portion of people out there that when they think of Canadians, they immediately think of XQC. Like, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, he's, for those of you who don't know, I think technically he is the largest streamer? No.
Well, he was paid like 180 million by Kick,
I think,
to stream on their platform.
Yeah, and he's from Montreal.
Yeah.
In Canada.
You can't understand a goddamn word he says.
You can't.
Like,
he's not speaking a discernible
marbles.
language.
He has literally a mouthful of marbles.
And so his take is that because he's a Twitch streamer, if he watches...
you didn't know XQC is Canadian? Yeah.
So, here, I'll bring up a picture of him. So this is XQC. I don't know his real name.
Felix.
Oh, yes, Felix something. He is a really large Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Like tens of thousands of people watching it any given moment.
He's the biggest Twitch streamer.
Yeah. Nobody really knows why.
I don't get it. Don't get it.
But what he does is he streams for like 12 hours a day, right? And how do you fill 12 hours of time? You watch shit. You watch people's YouTube videos. And typically, I guess there's this like gray area where watching an entire video on stream, is that considered the same as re-uploading that same content, right? Like stealing it. And I guess it's kind of being looked at as, as long as you're engaged with it, as long as you're, talking about it, you're not just like, here, I'm going to put this on and go take a piss.
Jason, the conversation was a little bit arbitrary. At some point, it did devolve into, well, just react harder. But the thing is, it's about like
react better than
copyright, you do. And whether or not like your reaction to it is transformative. And XQC's reaction to most stuff is just, oh, what the fuck am I watching? Oh,
yeah, naughty. Or he goes,
shit.
Shut up.
I'm trying to watch this. Shut up.
It's so bad. So obviously, and he admits, he's basically,
he could react harder.
He's legit. So the problem isn't actually that he's watching videos and not really paying attention. The problem is he then cuts that out of his stream and uploads it to YouTube.
The entire VOD.
And steals the original thumbnail and title and sticks his face on it. So in an effort to confuse people who might search for a video,
it cannibalizes the views.
Yeah, and a lot of people have come out saying straight up, like, I have no problem when these dozen of people do it, but when he does it, it feels like I'm being used.
Yeah, like I'm being
greasy.
Stolen from.
And he's basically like, I don't see the point.
And then did the worm.
Oh, and he's like, because Ethan Klein was saying, you don't do anything original. You don't make content. You steal content, and you don't give a shit. And you don't give anyone any money. It's for your own benefit.
And then he's like, oh, no, my viewers would watch about it. Just like, I'm trying to do my best.
He's basically like, my viewers would rather watch me do the worm than your dog shit content.
Like, then do it for a week.
Then do it.
Do nothing but the worm. And so then he proceeds to start to do the worm in the middle of this fucking debate. And it's just like, what am I witnessing right now? Like, this is literally I feel like this is the downfall of human intellect.
Yeah, like, it is. And so the problem is that this is like such a strange thing. Like, so
there he is doing the worm.
He's literally was like, not like the good worm, not like he was it was inching forward like a worm on the floor.
It was weird. I don't like an accordion body.
And then he's like, okay, well, this conversation is over.
Ethan just ended the conversation. He's like, this isn't entertaining to me. I have an actual show to do.
But the funniest thing about it is this is probably the most viral thing he's done in a very long time. Because he's just... And, like, we watch Hassan Piker.
Yeah.
Who, mainly because he does... a more left-oriented commentary on politics and stuff. Generally more oriented to the United States. He definitely has his hypocrisies as well. and not that we think that we're bigger than or better than anybody, but Hassan is very guilty of what they call the chair react, where he will put something on and go, I'm gonna go grab my lunch, and then he leaves for
there
the
have
entirety.
been, like, because we watch his stuff, but there have been multiple times where we've been watching him stream, and I've commented to Evan, if he's gonna get up and leave, I wish he would just pause the video or put on, like, a be right back, like, screen. Because, like, I understand, like, he has to go to the bathroom, he has to grab food, he has a dog that he needs to take out and go pee, and all of that is perfectly fine and acceptable. We understand. We're streaming right now. There are times when, like, I straight up told Evan the other week, like, when we have to go to the bathroom, can we just, like, you know, put a be right back screen? Because I don't, you know, it's just, it's weird if you might be able to hear him pissing while I'm sitting here talking, right? Like, you know, there's just...
And we all know that, you know, when you go into a be right back mode or whatever, people typically, they go, oh, well, I'll go find something else to do for 5 minutes. And I mean, whatever. Maybe they don't come back. But Hassan has concurrently
like always
tens, like 30,000
to 50,000 viewers at any given moment in time. So like if you put on a be right back screen for 3 minutes, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. And that's when it becomes,
because I also don't know how you react to something if you're not sitting there watching it, right?
Yeah, we use the example too. We watch people react to music, and so what'll happen is some people will basically listen to half the song, go, oh, that guitar is so good, and then listen to the other half of the song. And then there's this one particular person who's a vocal coach who basically takes like a 4-minute song and makes a 45-minute video about the technical aspects of
because she'll go back and
reanalyze
the same 4 seconds over and over again to be like, they're doing this here, they're doing that there.
Yeah.
Oh, here you can
she'll
hear this. And...
replay the same 10 seconds of a stick song going, is that a theremin?
Yeah.
Is that a theremin?
Oh, their timing signature here is so weird. They're doing this. And it's like you can tell she's actually like deeply I like listening to music analysis, but then there are some people that just are like, oh wow, cool man.
Yeah. And I mean, we're all obviously guilty of it.
Yeah.
The problem with some of the other people is, so Hassan doesn't actually, on his YouTube channel, he wouldn't upload an entirety of a video with his chair. But he's given people permission to upload stuff, like just upload his content,
fan
like
channels,
free IP type thing.
Yeah.
But so they won't clip it properly or the way he likes it, and they'll put it up, and then he goes, well, don't put things up there of me not doing anything.
The problem is these fan channels that just, you know, post stuff. And it's like, well, you let them. You say that you don't believe in intellectual property and people are free to steal this stuff from you and post it on YouTube to make money off of it. So you can't, like, you know...
Yeah, so that in itself is a problem, because he can say, oh, I'm not flooding YouTube with my videos. It's these 100 people who made 100 fan channels that put my face everywhere. So it is I guess, like, it's self-serving in a sense.
I really struggle with the idea of, like, oh, I don't believe in intellectual property. Like,
well, especially in that concept where he himself as a person is the intellectual property.
Don't get me wrong, I definitely believe that there's issue with copyright laws, especially, like, in regards to medical advancement. I feel there could be a lot more medical advancement if we weren't handcuffed by copyright laws. So in regards to that, that's bullshit. But like, I do believe that there is such an, like, it's why you get accused of plagiarism in university when you copy shit without properly citing it, right? Like,
you can only rewrite a sentence so many times to pretend it's not the original sentence. But it's also just, it highlights how many people, like, say this Sniper Wolf. We don't particularly know a lot about her, but she got brought into this whole thing by Jack Films, a YouTuber, saying basically she literally steals TikToks, goes, oh wow, while she's dressed up and stuff, and gets hundreds of millions of views. And sorry.
I was gonna say you gotta hand it to those NPC people because at least they're creating original content.
Oh my god, those NPC people are broken. Customer service broke them. But what was I saying? Sorry?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I cut you off. I'm so sorry. We were talking about. Jason, what were we talking about? Jason, please remind us. Shit, I'm so sorry.
Totally
copywriting. I'm so bad.
Wanting me to do it? No, the NPC stuff is what distracted me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Conversation
I'm
over.
so sorry. I
remember.
apologize deeply. That was my bad. I'm so sorry.
I do have to use. I never understood how NPC live stream. It's because it is so. It's the evolution or de-evolution of online content.
Yeah.
It went from I'm gonna make a video and you can comment. I can take your comments into account for my next video, and we'll continue this kind of sending letters style of communication. And then it went to live stream where you could talk to me while I was doing stuff. And then people were like, well, then you can pay me to do things like write on my face or eat 7 hot dogs for this much donation. And then they literally just took that person's personality out of it completely. And now they just say, do stuff, money, do stuff. I want to see you just do stuff. It's basically turning people into sideshows.
I think they have to pay each time they request that they do something. And so they make money off of each request they receive. I think it's like pennies on the dollar for or pennies that they but
it's whatever TikTok currency is.
Yeah.
Where you just like on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.
They had like the bits
and stickers and shit like that, and each one. So it's like the hot dogs.
Yeah,
and it's like glissies, but it's basically like it's the epitome of like a human Tickle Me Elmo doll, where it's like you just like pay to make them do something. It's just strange. Like it's like. I know someone who makes 7,000. Yeah. And so that's the thing. So obvious it's.
I don't have it in me.
I've just never been good at. I could never. I could see
ice cream's so good.
Why some of them do it as a joke for like 5 minutes or something, just as the meme of it. But then I think a lot of them go, oh my God, I put effort into stuff and I made 10 times doing this.
So here's the thing. I would never be able to live with the potential shame of my family members seeing it.
Well, and I mean...
I would be way too embarrassed.
It just...
Like, way too fucking embarrassed.
Yeah, it all literally reminds me of Idiocracy, where Dak Shepard is sitting in that chair.
I like money.
With popcorn and
like cheese sauce in a tub.
It's just like... And the guy on the screen's going...
the biggest earning movie of all time, Butts.
Yeah. Like, honest to God, it's not... And I by no means am somebody who says all content should be sophisticated or meaningful and fart jokes aren't funny. It's just... Like, there's a reason you can't just... You know how many... There was probably an executive around the table once who said, why don't we just do 22 minutes of fart sounds instead of filming a whole show? And someone was like, you cannot crack open Pandora's box like that. You only like 3 fart jokes, 1 every 10 minutes, or Satan will literally take over the earth.
But you can let them have ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Ridiculousness.
Yeah, and actually maybe that kind of stuff fails maybe prompt a lot of NPC stuff because it's like now you could pay for someone to fail and watch it happen. And I would imagine the ones that we've seen aren't as bad as some of them get.
Yeah.
Like there's probably like these ones are like, roses, they smell good. But I guarantee there's someone who probably like slaps themselves in the face You know what I mean? Like, give me $5 and I'll hit myself.
I was just thinking about how I really miss the days of like America's Funniest Home Videos, because it was like the internet except curated by professionals.
True. That's true. The internet has indicated that everybody does have a voice.
Yeah, but
Should every voice be heard?
People are like butts. Everyone has one, but not everyone wants to hear yours.
Facts.
Or that's
And-
opinions. Opinions are like butts.
Yeah.
Everyone has one, but not everyone wants to hear yours.
Yeah, and at some point we decided that it doesn't matter if what you're talking about you have, I don't know, expertise. I don't know. Not everything needs that.
I also
but...
say that as we sit here sharing our opinion, and we have like zero fucking credentials on shit. I have a degree in history with minors in archaeology and religious studies. Take that as you will.
I did gas fitting. I fit gas.
Yeah. And then I worked customer service for quite a number of years, and I hate people now.
I do think everyone's perspective is important, in a sense of you may have gone through something that is applicable to the situation that's happening. But, I mean, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen in a given scenario, or else you'll just end up eating slop. Slop. But before we go get into a couple of these news stories, I have to use the washroom. I do declare.
Do you want me to go do a garden tour while you go to the bathroom?
Sure, I was going to...
Your butt sounds amazing. Thanks, Violetta.
I was going to...
Oh, were you going to go pee outside?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to be right back, but if you want to do a garden tour,
Yeah, I'll do a little
works.
garden tour. A tour.
Get this.
I'm still, like, sad inside that I gouged the bathroom floor right before stream. Like, I have sadness in my heart about it. It's fine. I'll put my life back together as best I can.
You'll survive?
I'll survive. I'm a survivor. I ain't gonna give up. Keep on surviving.
Ain't never gonna give
on
you
surviving.
up. I'm never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. I'm never gonna make you cry. I'm never gonna say goodbye. Sorry about that. I am not sorry about that. Not at all. I am going to go to the washroom. And Krissy is going to take you on a tour. I will be right back. Hello. Hey, I just sat back down.
I showed them the Bugussi on tomato.
You showed them a Bugussi?
Yeah.
Gotta feed the dogs, be right back. Part of me thought he was gonna eat the camera. Yeah, the garden is flourishing. The cucumbers are big and cucumbery. Actually, can you use it?
Yes.
Ugh. Dry throat. Beep boop boop bop.
Beep boop.
I'm trying to fix shit at work. I thought you worked on IT, not in the plumbing department. Get it?
Yeah, I have a big bag of tomatoes that I cut them as they start to blush and then put them in my tomato.
Oh, I feel like death.
My tomato bag.
We actually have 4 different types of tomato plants.
We have more than 4 different.
There's the testicle-shaped ones, the Kirby tomato-shaped ones,
Because
the circular ones, and the little cherry ones.
I'm pretty certain we have like 7 plants, and I'm pretty certain they're all basically different types. There might be like one different, or 2 plants that are the same. So we have like probably 5 different varieties.
They all taste the same.
Yeah, they all taste like tomato.
Work, stay home. I mean, sounds like a good plan. Gypsy, take care.
Basil, I collected the other day.
Thank you
that
for
I'm
being
letting
here,
dry.
Gypsy. Take care of yourself and Bella.
I sewed it to a string, and doesn't it look so pretty? It's
I
even
always
like
think
a garland.
Basil is interesting because it looks like it's plastic. Like the leaves are just so perfect. If you drew a leaf, it would be like a basil leaf. But
A squoosh.
you know what? It kind of,
Be careful, that's pointy.
I know. But like, is there a difference? Can you tell a difference between that squash and my regular head?
A squoosh. Yeah, that's. I'm surprised you didn't immediately go because this
They're
thing's
not like hard.
Well,
They
depends where you put your finger.
they kind of feel like puppy teeth. The little spines on it. Does that make
I maybe you're not getting the real pointy one.
maybe. Jinjee, what are you doing? Jinjee, what are you doing? Love you, bud.
I will say though,
Love you, Jinjee.
I do
Love you.
think, and so does my mom, that our spaghetti squash is technically crossbred with some other sort of squash, because it doesn't, like, the patterning on it isn't like your typical spaghetti squash. And remember the first one we ate tasted like particularly squashy.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about
Yeah.
squoosh. In a sense of like, other than like butternut squoosh and spaghetti squoosh, I don't know
Yeah.
what you do with the other squooshes.
I think you just eat them like squishes.
But what does that mean? Like squash soup? Or like, do you have grilled squash?
Yeah, you can cook and eat squash many ways.
Can you squash a squash and just eat the squashed squash?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It kinda-
have heard a recipe where you squash it with beef. Like you put a bunch of squash and beef together.
Oh, like stuffed marrow?
No, it's squashed beef.
Oh.
That's my dad joke. You know what? Enough dad jokes. Let's talk about people having a very cold evening.
Yeah. This sucks so much.
So Banff is a very big tourist destination in Alberta. And there's something called Sulphur Mountain.
Hey, Bracken.
Oh, it's so broken. It's so lovely to see you. We're talking about Sulphur Mountain.
What? What did you say?
I didn't know it was called Sulphur Mountain. No.
So, don't you remember there's that part that really smells like sulfur by those natural vents where those stupid snails were?
You know, I'm going to say my main memory of the gondola is that we waited for like 2 hours to get on it, and then our ride with the old Brazilian couple.
And we asked them, you asked them, why are you here instead of at the watching the Olympics in Brazil?
Yeah.
But basically, you take a gondola or a gondola up to the peak so that you can look around.
Remember how a lot of people...
Actually, you know what? It probably is on Google
A lot
Maps.
of people thought that we were going to come back from that trip engaged because that's where your brother proposed to his wife.
That's true. We didn't know that at the time.
No, we didn't. But a lot, so unbeknownst to us, a lot of people had this assumption because of, like, his brother's proposal to his wife also occurred on the top of that mountain in Banff. To which I say, I'm glad you didn't do the same thing as your brother.
I actually had no idea that he did. Until I think my mom told me.
Yeah. I think she was like, I'm surprised you didn't propose.
Banff. So I bet you there is...
Banff gondola.
Yeah. I assume because it's such a big...
I know there's a lot of bear warnings there too.
Come on now.
I remember us looking around and there was like bear warnings everywhere, and they would talk about like the bears that lived in the area. They had names for them and shit.
Like the actual bears had names?
Yeah, because like there's like bears that have their territories, so they become aware of like what
shit.
bears are living there, and like they had names for these bears. And there was also, when we went through one area, we couldn't go hiking because there had recently been like a bear sighting or bear attack or something like that.
I do recall that. So there's 18,000 pictures. Oh, there's a...
Cosmic ray station.
So, just... Come on now. So this is the gondola that you go up. I think this is a view from the top.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Is that where... Yeah. Is this the base of it? Oh, yeah.
No, that's the walk. So when you get to the top, that's the top, but then you can walk away from, the station at the top of the mountain.
Yes. So you go up this mountain. Like, it's a big area.
Yeah.
I think we took a picture very, very similar on my phone. I bet you, like, a billion people have taken this picture.
Probably.
That always there?
I don't
The fuck
remember.
is that?
You weren't really enjoying yourself when we were there, so I remember
It's only
we
because
really rushed through the whole experience.
It's only because we waited so long, and I was being a dick.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we went to this gondola. It was a gondola.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, which was this was published on August 8th.
Which was yesterday?
Yes. Hundreds of people who took that. So what happens is you go to the top, and then you basically have to wait another hour
to get on the gondola,
to get in the
back down.
lineup to go back down on the gondola. There was a power outage. They experienced an unprecedented stoppage to the gondola as a result of a storm, a lightning storm on Monday evening.
What if people were stuck in the gondola?
I actually didn't hear that part of it. So, there was hundreds of people trapped at the very top of this, and it gets quite cold up there.
It was chilly when we went, and we went in the summer.
Yeah, so the lack of preparedness for situations like this is astonishing. Somebody had written on X. And these people... This is like, it's not meant
to house people.
No, I don't even know if it has doors.
No, there's doors in there. I remember we walked around and there's not a lot in there for it being like a huge tourist destination. I remember when we went, I was really disappointed because a lot of shit was closed down or half stocked with crap. Like it was very disappointing for the amount of money that you pay and the amount of time that you wait. What was up there?
Yeah, I mean it's a nice view, but like it's tough. So basically, they kind of food and blankets. They had to go up.
It's like a 5-hour
some people
hike.
had to go up to go take them things, right? So basically, there's a 5.5 kilometer hiking trail up the mountain, listed as moderate difficulty.
Yeah, 5-hour hike.
Yeah, and it's says it's about 655 meters in elevation from bottom to the top. And they had all these people, they were in teams walking them down the mountain. And they did indicate that everybody did make it down safely. But this particular part here, Matthew and Avery White were among the guests trapped at the observation deck overnight. They told CTV News on Tuesday they enjoyed their ride up, but quickly found out they wouldn't be getting down as planned. 9 o'clock is when everything stopped. By the morning, the company announced it had a plan. I guess the plan was to use helicopters, which worked out, but it was a lot, thinking you would be up and down in an hour or two. It's exhausting, Avery said, and I'm really tired. It was everybody for themselves, just trying to find a place, he said. At first, the restaurants didn't open. Finally, we were able to get into a restaurant, so we kind of got a booth area. It was strange. I don't remember a restaurant. Yeah. Oh, yes, there was. Yes.
It was closed when we went. Like I said, a lot of shit was closed when we went. It was highly disappointing when we went. Like a very disappointing experience. For how long we waited in line, how much money we paid. It was a very disappointing experience.
Yeah, and
It was quite a night for visitors in Banff who chose to go up Sulphur Mountain and enjoy the view. At about 8:30 last night, lightning knocked out power in the Bow Valley, stranding people at the top observation deck and in gondolas. About 300 people stayed overnight until helicopters rescued
I would
them.
be more scared about being in the gondola.
Where do you poop? Where do you pee? Where do you poop
On
and
the
pee?
fucking floor and have fun cleaning it. You better refund me. And have fun cleaning up my
That's
shit.
often what I've thought about, like, when people get trapped in elevators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, being trapped in an elevator as someone with anxiety would suck, right?
Yeah.
But being trapped in an elevator as someone with anxiety who also has to poop is like nightmare fuel. Because, like, your brain starts going, what if there's other people in there? What if there isn't other people in there? And it's really bad.
Okay, so speaking of like elevators getting stuck, reminds me of the rental company that I worked with last. So one of the properties that I managed had an elevator in it. And this elevator was shitty. And there was an issue where like somebody got stuck in the elevator and they called me, obviously. And so then I like, the way the things worked with the elevator is I had to contact the elevator company and then they would send somebody out to either repair the elevator or respond to the emergency. And so there were about 3 separate instances where people got caught in the elevator. And I called the elevator company every single time saying, somebody's caught in the elevator, you need to come out and fix the elevator and let them out of the elevator. And I think like the 3rd or 4th time it happened and I called the elevator company, the lady who answered the phone was like, so the last 2-3 times that you've called, these calls have really only been technically classified as entrapment calls and there's been no work order put in to repair the elevator. Would you like us to put a work order in to repair the elevator? I'm like, well, fucking obviously. Like, I would think the first time I phoned you and was like, somebody's stuck in the elevator, send somebody out to fix the elevator and let them out. Like, fucking 1 and 1 equals 2, you dumbass. I don't know. I was so unimpressed with that situation.
I've heard a lot of horror stories about elevator repair, in the sense of how it's like there's like where we live, there's like 2 companies in the whole entire province that do it.
Yeah.
So because I mean, there's not a ton of us.
Oh no, were the people getting married?
Oh, they must have been. They probably had protocols you had to follow. Yeah,
well, but
if people keep getting trapped in an elevator, you think you'd say, "Would you like to schedule a service call?"
Yeah.
For as opposed to emergency repairs.
Yeah.
Mainly,
and not even just entrapment calls. They were only considered entrapment calls.
Yeah.
And like I said, like it had happened 3 times within like. How is the situation not clear, Jason?
Don't get sucked into Jason's whataboutisms. Jason, don't
Jason,
fucking
I
go.
was there. I was the one talking on the fucking phone to these people. I know what was said and what was discussed.
Yeah, puppies are fed. Nice. Do you have to buy them specific puppy chow so they don't diarrhea everywhere? I've heard that happens with puppies. The funny thing about these people getting married or proposal part up there, I would imagine it's marriage.
Well,
With
she's
the
in a
outfit.
wedding dress, yeah.
They are good. Do you know how many people have probably got married up there and they're gonna have the most unique story of it? We have some oldies. They're on special food. Sounds like me. The FODMAP.
Yeah.
There's somebody stuck in an elevator. I'm sure that's just paraphrasing of the conversation. Fix the internet at your work. Don't worry about elevators. But yeah, it sounds like honestly.
To make sure that the system is reliable. That's why we work so hard that when it does go out, we try and get it back on as quick.
It sounds like they were working hard to fix the situation, but they had no planning in case it happened.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
You'd assume up at the top they would have a
emergency
room,
blankets,
staff only, that's
Yeah.
full of fucking granola bars and hiking sticks,
Yeah.
and you say, let's go down the mountain. Or like even just like, I don't know, could you like wheel people down the mountain?
or get like, you know, donkeys. When I climbed Mount Sinai, there was lots of old ladies riding donkeys to the very top. I don't know.
Would you say donkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just ride some donkeys.
Just put a bunch of donkeys in
bunch
a
of
storage
donkeys.
closet.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Or a bunch. They should just go and buy all of those. What are the wheelies? Those shoes with the
wheelies. Yeah,
circles.
that's a
with
great
the
idea.
circles in them. How do you not have a well, especially at the top of a mountain, right? How do you not have a just in case at the top of a mountain? But
Jason, I understand what you're saying, where people think that they're being clear when they're not, but like it was part of my job to clearly relay the issues that were going on with, like, to ensure that work was being properly done. So I know for a fact that when I called the elevator company, I explained to them, there is somebody currently stuck in the elevator. You need to send somebody out right now to get them out of the elevator and to repair the elevator. And like I said, that call happened like 3 times within a week. So I know what was said, and I know that I was very clear about what needed to be done.
Cigaria Fortress. Sounds intense. Yeah, also, if I had you come to my office multiple times to fix the same problem, and all you did was Band-Aid fix it every time and not be like, okay, I need to do this so it stops, I'm going to come back at 4 p.m. and fix it.
Yeah.
But the problem is the reason you wouldn't do that is if you're making a shitload of money on the emergency call out.
Yeah.
It's a scummy business practice is what I was trying to say when I said a lot of people where we live have bad experiences with elevator repair because
it's all one company.
Yeah, and nobody knows anything about elevators. You know? We live in a flat population. Or a flat land. We have I bet you 100 buildings that have, have more than 10 floors. Maybe. What is Cigaria Forest? They try to help you up. Oh, they expect to be paid when you get to the top. Interesting. It's in Sri Lanka? Or no?
Oh, Sri Lanka. Central Province, Sri Lanka.
When they installed cable at first in my house, they intentionally cut one of them cables. I worked in emergency response, and I know people who basically they get used to making X amount of money, including overtime, and then when the company finally gets their shit together and there's less overtime, they would try and make overtime for themselves, which is
That's
obviously
dirty.
something like Jason's saying, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, the less companies you have to choose from, the more likely they are to get away with doing stuff like that. But speaking of, disasters ruining events, they've got someone ruining the Scout Jamboree in South Korea. Like, I mean, climate change be damned. When the Scout Jamboree's getting ruined, shit is getting serious. So this was in South Korea. There is a typhoon coming. Or it's a typhoon? More than 1,000 buses were deployed to move 37,000 scouts from 156 countries. The World Scout Jamboree. There's a tropical storm coming. So the Interior Minister said scouts would continue their Jamboree programs during the remaining 5-day event, but the government has scrambled to keep going because of heat and hygiene and land use controversies. Whatever that means.
When I hear the word jamboree, I think of like the bear jamboree with those animatronic bears.
Yeah.
And their banjos. Bracken said, I used to have a plumber on the books that always had leaks after installs, so they got paid for out of hours call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after grappling with a heat wave for about a week, I guess there is, my eyes dry, so I keep where I'm seeing. Oh, here it is. So is this not the article I was reading that talked about the intensity of the storm that was coming? The storm, such a shame for so many scouts. What? How about we just watch what this 35 seconds. No.
I don't think it has sound. I think this is just footage of the buses evacuating the scouts.
That's a lot of...
I didn't realize that the scouts were such an international group. I mean, Girl Scout cookies are a bomb.
It actually kind of weirds me out that it's like a, I don't want to say a cult, but it's strange that it's something that's so worldwide. I didn't necessarily understand that.
I do really enjoy Girl Guide Thin Mint.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're the best cookie. They're real good.
I mean, it's just a bunch of scouts. I mean, if anyone should be prepared for this, it should be the scouts, right? I'm putting Abby into the scouts when she's old enough. I mean, you'd get to see a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally.
I was in Army Cadets. I made it up to the rank of warrant. That was exciting.
I would have gotten kicked out or something.
They sent me to summer camp each summer in BC and paid you $60 a week. I assume it's probably gone up with inflation now. I don't know for sure, but it taught me how to make a real good bed.
It's true. She's very particular.
Yeah, I'm very particular.
Yes, it was called Typhoon Kanun. I currently have a company when I asked to. Didn't receive it the first time. Oh. Tried to send 2 legal documents. Reissue it. Use fax. My doctor still uses fax. Oh,
It's actually surprising how many places use fax nowadays.
Yeah, my doctor still uses fax. It's tough. I think that honestly, this is my
They
thought.
use it a lot in post-secondary still.
The reason that a lot of places like government and stuff like that use fax machines and post office still is because it spreads out the workload. Because if it was emails, you would have people, you could get 1,000 emails in a day and you got to deal with them. Whereas if you say you have to fax that, they might not come in for a fucking day or two.
But here's the thing. You're never really watching the fax machine for an important fax. Because usually what just prints off is like random fucking ads. So unless somebody sends you an email or a phone call saying, I'm sending you an important fax, pay attention to it, you're probably not going to notice it because you're going to be like, what's this shit on the fax machine? And you'll be like, oh, ads for sofas. Throw that in the garbage.
Oh, it's Bracken's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Bracken.
Bracken. I'm sorry that you...
We're both Leos.
Oh, that's... Lion people.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini?
Meow.
Like clone or twin? I don't even know. The symbol is two people.
Meow.
Enjoy bath and bedtime with Abby. Hopefully, I don't know, with that hour of birthday that you can have some cake and liquor.
I kind of want McCain's cake. Deep and delicious.
It is good. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
I think it's a Canadian treat. Despite their tagline being like, let them eat cake from
Holy shit.
Marie Antoinette.
So in this article still about the typhoon that's coming, it could potentially pack wind gusts up to 154 kilometers an hour, which is 95 miles an hour. That's a thunder gust if I ever did hear it. God. You got the scouts. Leo and Year of the Dragon, so I have all of the temper. Oh, this all makes sense now.
That explains a lot. Hey, sweetheart.
It all makes sense. What else do we got here? Yeah, those poor scouts. There was let's just try this one. I've had it on here for a while. I thought it was interesting. Sean William Scott Stifler from the American Pie movies had kind of done an interview recently where he said for his role as Stifler, he only made $8,000. In Iowa, we had 140 mile an hour straight line winds during Jericho. Destroyed the... Holy shit. We were just talking, I don't know what kind of winds we had.
We had plow winds. Well, that's what our neighbors said. Yeah, they're like, oh, that plow wind that came through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we looked up, also known as a thunder gust.
Thunder gust.
So, yeah, Steve Stifler, Sean William Scott said in 1999, the first movie he was actually in, which was like, it went really... I believe really like Jason said, low budget, high earnings, like Paranormal Activity style stuff. But he had to hold a job as a churro guy at a local zoo to make ends meet after spending that $8,000 on a second-hand car. So I don't know who Rick Eisen is, but that's the show he was on. And he bought a Thunderbird for $5,000 or $6,000. Pretty cool car. But he ended up having to work as a churro guy for that aspect of it. Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting, because you never know, right? You just assume like everybody's making bank that's in all this stuff. But after learning about this, like SAG-AFTRA stuff, like what they're doing with streaming services, and nobody who's actually involved with it ends up making any of that money. It's super strange, and it does eventually make you wonder, like, how much of what they're doing does belong to just the people who own the companies that they're doing it for, right? It's again like every other issue where the labor isn't as important as the product type thing. But like I thought nobody got paid well on that film. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I just seen that article pop up and I just thought it might be interesting.
I think because people have this assumption that actors get paid shitloads of money for the things that they appear in too, right?
Yeah. And like we don't really know what is a normal amount for someone. Like the only thing that media ever talks about is like George Clooney made $100 million being blah, blah, blah in Ocean's 15.
Well, I think, I don't think you read it, but in that article, it also said that since 2017, Mandy Moore has only made 81 cents in residuals off of the show This Is Us. 81 cents is not a lot of money. And Mandy Moore has been, like, famous since, like, the 90s.
Yeah, she kind of disappeared, didn't she?
I think she kind of just went off and had a family a little, and,
Which makes sense. This actually infuriates me to no end. We actually talked about this once I seen it for a while. Google is trying to pull a Musk, and it's inviting people for a small fee of $99 a night to sleep on its campus hotel to help transition to the hybrid workplace.
No. Work-life balance, no.
So as part
Also, if you're going to require me to sleep at work, I'm not fucking paying
this
for
is
it.
this is what they do at Foxconn, at those manufacturing places that install nets so people can't jump out windows.
This is like fucking industry towns, like in all of those backward
Hershey,
states,
Pennsylvania,
where it's like all those coal towns, like the ones that are like the Appalachias that are falling apart, where you're like,
it's not even that they say, oh, for being an employee willing to work hours and stay overnight, and not say like you're like, oh, I'll burn the midnight oil and just stay at work and then continue the next day. No, they say you have to pay to stay. It's so in an effort to try and lure back its employees after doing the with COVID, figuring out, oh shit, most of these people don't have to work in this building that we've paid billions of dollars to construct. That's like an adult McDonald's play fucking structure. But they're trying to normalize this. And it should never be normalized.
I'm trying to think that works out to probably like close to, I want to do math on this for a second. One moment here. Clear.
Exactly,
99
Violetta.
times 30. Yeah, that's close to $3,000 a month. That's more than fucking rent.
Well, it's just
or a
like,
mortgage in a lot of places.
Like Elon Musk was apparently the first one to do it because he repurposed several of their office workspaces into hotel bedrooms so employees wouldn't have to commute. It just highlights...
Can't they do their job remotely?
Yeah, and you're fucking computer, like you're a digital asset.
Yeah, unless you're like a janitor for
server,
the building.
Unless you're repairing server
yeah,
racks.
Yeah.
Or, like, what do you need to be...
Most of these people can fucking work remotely. But that's the thing. Elon Musk doesn't want people working remotely because he can't micromanage them then.
The thing that I found the most interesting about getting rid of working remotely is in a problem where we have grid issues with the amount of power consumption, especially in these older commercial buildings that have very poor heating and cooling systems, having people work at home shifts all of that. So the person who's now thankful that they can eat the groceries out of their own fridge at lunch is willing to pay for their own internet, home heating and cooling costs, instead of the company having to pay thousands upon thousands to waste extra energy on the grid.
Yeah.
But no, that's not good enough because we can't possibly turn this into a homeless shelter or a food bank. You know, what are we supposed to do with this building now?
Oh, gross, helping people? Ugh.
Yeah, and like basically they're trying to pitch it as saying like, just imagine no commute to the offices in the morning. Instead, you get an extra hour of sleep and there's less friction.
Frictionless.
You could walk out of your room and quickly grab a delicious breakfast and get a workout in before work starts.
Likelihood of me like throwing myself out of the window to like, you know, unalive myself goes up like exponentially.
Well, yeah, like they're probably going to slip lithium in all of the food and stuff, so everyone's walking around super happy. It's time for your daily Black Mirror injection into this neural link in your brain. So some employees complained in an internal forum viewed by CNBC that they had mixed feelings about the hotel special. And one employee wrote, "Now I can give some of my pay back to Google."
Exactly.
Another employee reportedly acknowledged that a month's stay at an on-campus hotel would be $3,000 a month. Less
than much of the housing, and that's weirdly
sorry,
sentence.
I get confused sometimes at structuring.
Another employee reportedly acknowledged that a month's stay out on the campus would run $3,000 a month, less than much of the housing in the surrounding San Francisco area. And one person commented the amenities are better than what they get at their apartment. But who's going to give up their apartment? Okay, sorry,
the thing.
Like, it shouldn't. $3,000 a month is a lot of fucking money on housing. I don't care where you are living in the world. That is way too much on housing.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can, why anybody would want to submit so much of themselves into their occupation that you literally are sacrificing the only thing you'll never get back, which is time. I'm sorry. I know that hard work is valuable,
Yes.
but
When you're on your deathbed
Yeah,
and you're
like,
sitting
what the
there and you're sad the fact that you never got to spend time with your family because you spent it all in the office, like
for somebody
that'll be the
else,
choice that you have made with your life and whatever.
it's the problem that I have with toxic positivity at work, which
Yeah.
you have experienced more than
but
I,
no
because
like,
I've always
even if
been
you're sad, push it down and pretend like you're happy.
like if you're not happy to be here, you're letting everyone else around you down. It's like, what are you talking about?
I worked at a place where I kind of just like, you know, HR was standing by me, and so to make small talk, I think it was a Thursday, I expressed my excitement for the weekend because we had something planned. And she said to me, you know, you talking about how excited you are for the weekend really tells me that you don't want to be here. And it's like,
no, I don't want
or
to be
I
here.
can be excited for my own fucking personal time with my husband, you dumb bitch. Like,
Basically, it's strange. It's the new just as you know, you guys may have seen that Jonah Hill stuff about how he is weaponizing psychology terms in his relationship setting.
I will say about that person who made me feel bad about my weekend. She also tried to make me feel like bad about my father passing, and I should be more devoted to work than being sad about my dad dying. So
yeah, and it's that they weaponize things that have become psychological. Like, businesses learn tactics to psychologically manipulate you into being there, and they learn things that handcuff you from being able to leave, like things like offering a daycare service so you don't have to pay somebody more. Well, that person is less likely to be able to look for another or to find another job opportunity where they will make enough to then cover having to pay for daycare.
yeah,
Right? So there's these little things that really enrobe people in these unescapable situations.
what was also really funny is that this same place where, you know, I, you know, shouldn't be excited for my weekend and also like get over your dad dying, they started a meditation room. So when you're feeling really stressed out, you know, go take a little 5-minute break to yourself and, like, you know, meditate and, like, you know.
They did that where I work too. It was a goddamn storage closet.
That's basically what this was too. It was
The
a storage
tallest
closet.
person in the building literally couldn't use it if they wanted to.
And it's like, maybe if you changed your work culture, and that's the whole thing. It's like, we're like a family here. And it's like, no, you're not my family. You're a place that provides me money so that I can afford to live.
Yeah, it's strange. It's really strange. It kind of goes back to that, like, royalty serfdom, where it's not just that you're doing work for the king or the royal, you have to respect and admire them as well.
Yeah.
If a boss told me that, I'd punch her in the throat. Yeah. You know what?
And then it's so funny because, like, I'm the one who has a bad attitude about shit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Get fucked!
And that's what I mean. They turn it back around on you to feel like you're letting everyone else down, when in reality, they're the ones who have lost complete humanity.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who have had their brains flushed out of their cerebral cortex, out of their ass, we got to bring up this man himself. I don't like talking about feline nuts every goddamn day, but in the news every day, something crazy. And he tweeted that basically anyone who is fired, Twitter or X will cover the legal costs for taking that company to court about free speech. So, think of the most unhinged tweets you've seen. The ones that are like, Well, you know, why can't we just have a discussion about why Hitler was so bad?
Why can't we just talk
If you
about
can't
it?
talk about it, then that's limiting my free speech.
I just find it so funny that all these like people like Pearl is like, well, why can't we just talk about Hitler? And I said to Evan, I was like, you want to talk about Hitler? Go study history in university, and you can talk about him all you fucking want.
You just can't go to the middle of Walmart and start talking about Hitler. It's just not where the conversation is meant to be had.
Yeah.
So basically, the platform will fund legal fees for people who were unfairly treated by their employers for things that they have liked or posted. And then he elaborated slightly further, saying, there is no limit to the amount of fees that they would cover. X won't just sue, it will be extremely loud, and we will go after the boards of directors of those companies as well. One of those initial offerings was to Libs of TikTok.
Oh.
That psychopathic woman who is...
She's accosted AOC in the streets and...
fear-mongering with the most insane things.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, exactly. He's so desperate. The thing about this that blew my fucking mind is they also said, oh, this month we can't pay you.
Yeah.
Remember last month he's like, oh, put all your content on Twitter. You get the most revenue per post or whatever. And they paid out tons of money. And Mr. B said, whoever blah 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 gets my money. And then this month they go, oh, we need more time. It's cost too much to pay you out. And then they say, we'll cover your legal fees? With what?
Yeah.
Pubic hair? Can you pay legal fees with that? It just blows my mind. But there are also people, don't fear not, my love.
Okay.
There are people in that realm of Illuminati wealth that do decently nice things for people. Like Beyonce. So she had a concert in Washington, D.C., and there was extremely bad weather. So apparently, out of her own pocket, she paid $100,000 to keep the trains running for an extra hour so that all of the people there, or, you know, as many as possible, could get home safely.
I hope that, like, an hour was, you know, the amount of time everyone needed.
I mean...
But, you know,
it's
good for
more
her.
than they
Good
had
for
to
her.
do. She
Yeah,
had
absolutely.
to do. Look
She
at
didn't-
what's his
she
name,
didn't have
that
to do that at all.
Travis
Scott?
Yeah, who had people trampled to death and never did anything
or that
for
Kai
anybody.
Sennett, who's being charged with, like,
Speaking of Twitch streamers.
federal, whatever, group gathering.
Yeah.
Bad group gathering. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you? I actually. I'm going. Do you want to talk about that Kai Sennett stuff?
Sure.
I'm just gonna go outside for a sec, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, Kai Sennett.
If you want to show that, you
I
just
don't.
click
Browser. Okay. Okie dokie. Artichoke. All right. So, this gentleman, also one of the biggest streamers ever. I've never really watched any of his shit. Apart from, like, when other people talk about him and they show some of his stuff. Anyway, one of the biggest streamers ever. He's now facing 1 year in jail. Cause yeah, he posted something. So a riot. He was gonna do a giveaway event for, like, video game consoles, and I think he thought, at least I'm pretty sure he thought, because of the one clip I saw of him on, like, the Philip DeFranco, is that he's like, what? Well, like, maybe only like 500 people will show up, and thousands of people showed up. And it turned into a huge thing. Yeah, I've only heard of him just because, like, Evan and I are, like, kind of chronically online, so we hear about people, but we've never watched any of Kai Sennett's shit. But like I said, he's, like, one of the biggest streamers on the platform. So yeah, there was some injuries. Fortunately, I don't think anybody was killed. But yeah, some injuries. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was.
So this Kai Sennett, he has over 100,000 monthly subs on Twitch. That's like 300. That's like he's the most subbed to Twitch streamer in this scenario. And he on a stream said something like, "Yeah, we're gonna give away some PS5s and gift cards. Maybe a couple hundred people will show up." It was thousands. And now the police are looking into if there was like bad actors who specifically co-opted
I will say, I don't know how you can have 6.5 million Twitch followers and assume only 500 people are gonna show up.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what kind of fucking world do you live in?
he has 4 million on YouTube. Like, he was named Streamer of the Year last year. And yeah, he... Look at, in that 1 month... So he had a 30-day uninterrupted live stream that amassed more than 300,000 active Twitch subscribers that month. He accounted for 2.5% of all hours watched on Twitch.
That is a huge amount.
Yeah, so like he is being charged with I didn't mean to close. He is being charged with,
Inciting a
riot, obviously not getting his shit together, all that kind of stuff. But he almost got the way
trampled.
They were being swarmed. It looked like people were going to start literally ripping out pieces of his hair and his clothes and his arms and I got an eyeball.
It's not just dangerous for other people, but also incredibly dangerous for him. He's essentially a celebrity, and when you have that level of, unfortunately, when you do have that level of notoriety, you can't just go do that shit and expect nothing from it.
It's funny because we like to think that giving young people money won't turn out bad.
We could announce here on stream right now, hey, we're gonna go to Saskatoon and give a video game giveaway.
No one would show up.
No one would fucking show up. Maybe my brother.
Let alone riot.
Maybe my brother.
Yeah.
But that would be it. None of you people live in this province, let alone give a shit about us giving stuff away.
You'd be like, can you stream it so we can watch? But middle of New York, I don't know. There's so many people making so many bad decisions. XQC, Kai Sennett, fucking Aiden Ross. It seems like every person on Twitch who makes an excessive amount of money, aside from 4 people, do chaos.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We'll move. But yeah, like I said, just keep in mind some people maybe aren't so bad.
Yeah.
Beyonce, the Metro service said basically funded by the tour to cover the cost, 98 stations will stay open for customers to get off. Not that way, but get off the train.
Controversial opinion though.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't really. It's just not my type of music. So there was a big thing where so I guess in one of her songs she specifically says Lizzo's name when she's in this particular set of lyrics honoring strong women, and because of all the Lizzo stuff, when she sang, she purposely left her name out, and I'd imagine that's quite an insult.
I imagine honestly, a conversation with Beyonce would probably be.
Well, it would be tough to be relatable. They've lived. Hey, Miss Lev. They've lived such a farther life. They would have no idea. The way we've lived is so different than the way they live.
You live in a shed.
Yeah. You're a shedhead. You're freaking weird out. Mr. Charkington, you're freaking weird out. We're freaking famous wieners. Mr.
Can I
Nate.
have the famous wiener in my anus?
Really, the only other article I came across, I haven't looked at it too much in depth. I just kind of seen it. PayPal launched its own cryptocurrency, literally backed by USD, which will be called PayPal USD. So I just thought it was interesting that towards the end of all of this, like, I thought the cryptocurrency stuff was like dying off. You know what I mean? But I guess PayPal since 2020 has really been like, I don't know, behind the scenes doing shit. And they own about $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency. So yeah, this is supposed to be the first one that's considered a stable coin, backed by a US dollar. But so it's designed to be redeemable for actual US dollars at any time. It will be usable to fund purchases on PayPal as well as PayPal's alternative Venmo. Users will be able to seamlessly move PayPal USD between their PayPal and Venmo wallets, as well as wallets outside of PayPal's ecosystem. It's so strange to think about a private company owning, like, so remember how we were talking about company towns?
Yeah.
And like certain mining towns, they would pay you in this like
company
money. Dollars, and you could only use them at the company store.
Yeah.
So what happens when PayPal, gets blacklisted by a bunch of companies, and now you can't use your PayPal dollars, and they refuse to redeem it? But I know they'd have. It seems like a crazy world to get involved in.
Yeah, I can see the benefit for like international purchases, so you don't necessarily have to go through exchange rate.
Yeah, there is value to some of it, like getting Rutgers tokens.
I'm also not an economist, so
people are
my thoughts on that shit are highly uneducated and based a lot on feelings and vibes.
Yeah. We honestly,
so my opinion means bullshit. It means absolutely nothing in regards to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I think it's just tough to know what is a scam and what's going to turn out, you know what I mean? And who's trying to cash in and manipulate people and who's trying to. So I don't know. I mean, I've always been told never gamble with more money than you can afford to lose. And I've never had money I can afford to lose. So I don't gamble much. We're not going to talk about this today.
It's like when rich people tell you, like, oh, you should invest your money, and it's like, yeah, but I only have $100, and I need that to buy groceries. Yeah. So
I have to invest it in food that I can invest into my body.
Yeah, I have to invest it in food so I don't die tomorrow.
So then I can go earn more money to invest in food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, I've heard that one of the most detached things in, say, celebrity to, or like rich to poor lifestyle is they don't actually walk around with any money or anything, or they don't pay their person with them, their assistant pays for it all. They just like, I want this, I want that, and it happens. So they become detached from like the actual even being the person to order and buy the things. But we weren't going to talk about this today. I just wanted to do a little bit.
I found this the other week.
I thought we could go through it tomorrow and find some better ones.
And I thought it was quite funny because I like cooking stuff. Cooking things make me laugh, like, Kay's Kitchen and that. And basically, this is a Reddit page where people have recipes that have eggs, and either they don't have the eggs or they decided to add eggs into a recipe that doesn't need it.
And it's people basically, like in some insane shit that they've decided to substitute things with. I figured tomorrow we could look through some of the good ones.
Yeah.
And let me tell you.
Tomorrow though is Humboldt.
Oh yes,
trip.
we have to.
Cause I gouged the floor.
Yeah, we have to go and get some repair materials from a town about an hour away tomorrow. Yeah. So.
But it means we can get McDonald's.
That's true. There's some other amenities there that we can get things from.
It has some cheaper grocery stuff. So it'll be a double good thing.
Yeah, we'll take off early and then go do our thing. And
I apologize.
Oh, don't be. It happens.
I'm apologizing to you and them.
We'll.
They know I'm really letting Jason down.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And Mr. Phillip. So can I organize my email? Are you? We do. Unless unforeseen circumstances arise, we do intend to stream on Friday.
But you should probably go watch the Barbie movie with her, Philip.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Is it a girls' evening that you don't want to wreck?
I want to see the Barbie movie so bad.
People are actually losing their minds about our Prime Minister going to the Barbie movie with his son.
Yeah, and then Oppenheimer with his daughter.
Yeah, like... Wouldn't you rather have...
It's mostly conservatives that are losing their minds about him trying to be like a good single father.
Who's that douchebag from Piers Morgan?
Oh, Piers Morgan.
So this is our Prime Minister. He went to the Barbie movie with his son, and all of the fucking conservatives and stuff were like, "I'm so embarrassed right now. I'm glad he's not my Prime Minister." It's like, what would you rather have? Yeah. Donald fucking Trump? Pierre Polivier?
This is him being a good dad and going in and enjoying a movie with his son.
This is what people would rather have.
Oh, you're getting Violetta, you're getting whiskey. I have a question. Is there like a official alcohol of Slovenia?
This fucking turd.
Oh my god, Pierre Polivier and his fucking wood.
This guy is...
Oh, this man loves his wood.
He's trying to organize a government by taking the racists from the racist party.
I too can pet wood.
This guy's a rich...
I'm just as great of a politician as Pierre Polivier.
But like... It's not. Sorry. It's loud on my ear. It's just like... You want somebody like that piece of shit talking about his family cabin up in the mountains instead of the guy who goes to the Barbie movie with his son? Like, come on. Like,
no, you want to watch a man stroking his wood.
Like, look at this guy's fucking face. You're telling me this guy has done actual hard labor in his life?
No, not at all.
No, he looks like he's Dean Cain. He's trying to be Superman.
Schmarnica.
Schmarnica.
Can we look up Schmarnica? That is a fun word. Schmarnica.
Is it made with, it sounds like a sambuca or
wine. Felt Slovenia.
I'll get it right. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Sounds like a homeopathic medicine. A type of self-rooted grapevine that up until recently was illegal? Because it may have contained large amounts of methanol? What in the fuck? You won't find it.
What an interesting...
Interesting. It's a wine.
Interesting.
All alcohol does produce X amount of methanol in its production, but interesting. However, we drink beer.
Well, potatoes. We're not really drinkers at all. That was weird. I have a bottle of Frangelico and Co-op brand Bailey's on the shelf. I got those at Christmas time, and I use them mostly in baking.
It's a fact.
Yes.
She uses it when it pops into her frond. This is how it works.
And it's not that we're not big drinkers because we're anti-alcohol. We're just, well, he
looking
because
at
of his
it, and the
meds
words pop right into my front.
can't drink lots because of his meds. So then I don't want to drink by myself. That's sad.
Yeah, with my medication, it kind of fucks. It makes me sleepy. I just basically, if I just want to go to bed after having a beer.
That is so funny that like wasps and hornets and bees get drunk off of flour.
We have deers that, or no wait.
Deer like to eat marijuana.
Yeah, deer eat weed plants, and then people used to harvest the deer piss.
Well, no.
no?
You're thinking of in like Sweden and stuff like that,
It's
where the
Sweden.
reindeers would eat mushrooms.
Yeah.
But the mushrooms are poisonous to humans, but then they get filtered through the reindeer piss, so then you drink the reindeer piss and you have a mushroom trip. But here, if you do plant a marijuana plant, the likelihood of it being munched on by deer is very likely. I had friends that grew weed in northern Saskatchewan, well before it was legal. And their big issue was deer coming by and munching on.
I don't drink either, but I need to celebrate, and if I do, I drink whiskey.
That's fair.
And a lot of people like Canadian whiskey.
I like gin and tonics if I'm gonna drink.
A lot of people enjoy a Wiser's or a Crown Royal from Canada.
I like a gin and tonic.
I'm just a beer person.
There is this one place in Moose Jaw though called Bobby's Place, and they make this really good Pimm's drink, and it's made with Pimm's, which is like it's its own type of alcohol, and I know it's garnished with cucumber. I fucking love it. It's so good.
My favorite garnish is a pepperoncini, Tito's and cranberry.
What's Tito's?
What's Tito's?
Tito's I think is vodka, isn't it?
I mean, vodka cranberry is good.
Yeah, vodka cran.
I mean, vodka is basically you just mix it with things like Sprite and shit. And
Vodka
it's good.
goes with basically anything.
It's vodka.
Yeah.
From the potato.
Potato alcohol.
The pomme de terre, apple of the earth in French.
Also weird to think that the
Tito.
Russians would have never had vodka until contact with the Americas.
The more you know.
I think about that a lot.
There's a lot of things that places wouldn't have that we think were always in the place that it
like, and the
wasn't.
potato is a big thing. Same with tomatoes. Like, tomatoes being a big part of the Italian diet, but there was no tomatoes in the Italian diet until contact with the Americas. Same with potatoes. Same with corn. And I love corn.
I love corn.
Got the juice.
Got the juice. You guys, thank you for hanging out today.
Yeah.
Again, we will be taking tomorrow to go run in and do some stuff.
Because I am a klutz.
Look at that pretty face. Did you
cute
just
klutz.
wink at them as a sausage?
Maybe.
How dare you?
I've been here. Sorry, Philip. I hope Ollie is doing well. Ollie to booger. Have you ever heard that one?
To booger?
Like, you know those things like Ben Dover or Cal Gary? One of the ones I always liked was Ollie to booger. So it's all eat a booger.
Uh-oh.
Get it? Get it? Get it? Ollie to booger! Okay, you guys, don't go eat your boogers.
Don't do that.
Just wipe them under the couch cushion.
That works too.
Take care. Much love.